In today's lunch break, we're making an earthy sweet salad with a little tangy kick. We're making grapefruit and beet salad with Erica Schlick. She is the author of A Wandering Palate, a cookbook that offers some options for people with food sensitivities. And I know this was born out of something that happened to you. You contracted Lyme disease.
I did. I got Lyme disease in 2012, and it took about 2 years to get diagnosed.
Wow.
And diet was one of the first things that I changed in order to start to recover. And so I started eating a paleo diet, and that really helped with my symptoms. It helped with my recovery. And to this day, I've been in remission for about 2.5 years, but I continue to eat this way to stay healthy.
But you offer recipes for all kinds of people, not just paleo, but people who have other food sensitivities as well, and food allergies, you know, to gluten or to...
Absolutely. The paleo diet really takes out a lot of the inflammatory foods. So it cuts out dairy, it cuts out grains, it cuts out legumes, things like that can really help people heal, whether you have an autoimmune disease or some digestive distress. So it's really a healing diet for all sorts of ailments.
And even if you don't, there are so many people that do. I'm cooking for a group this weekend, and people said, oh, you know, this one doesn't eat dairy and this one eats vegan. And it's like, it's a great resource to have some options for people.
And this can be vegan. We have a little bit of cheese here today, but you can definitely omit the cheese and make it
put
vegan,
it on the side.
vegetarian, paleo. It can fit all sorts of diets and keep everyone happy.
It's a great guide. I think it's wonderful. So let's get to the recipe, and then we'll talk a little bit about a fundraiser that you're doing for people with Lyme disease.
Absolutely. So today we're going to be making the beet and grapefruit salad. So I'm going to start with the dressing. So I like to make it really light and fresh. I use a lot of fresh herbs, a lot of citrus in my dressings. So we're going to do a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and typically you'll use about 1/4 cup, but depending how big you're making the salad, you can do a little more or less.
Sure.
And then I've got some fresh grapefruit juice, and there's a little tip. We have some grapefruits in the salad, but once you segment them, you can actually use the rest of the pulp to get your juice out of it. So usually if it's a juicy grapefruit, there's enough juice. We've got some fresh lemon, and we also have some fresh tangerine juice as well.
Ooh.
And so that's really nice to give it the citrus base. And then
but a little bit of sweetness, because the grapefruit can tend to be kind of tart.
A little too sweet, a little too tart. And then I've got some fresh herbs. So this is lavender. So I like to use fresh if possible. It's unfortunately not available year round. So if you can't find it, you can use dried.
All right.
And then I like to use thyme. I like to use that fresh as well. And so fresh herbs have a lot of polyphenols, lots of antioxidants. They're really good for your health, so keep everybody happy with that.
Yes.
And then we've got a little pinch of sea salt as well. So that's our dressing. It's really simple. You just whisk it together. And then we've got our salad here. So we've got the beets, and I'm going to get these capers started here.
I want to talk about how you prepared the beets.
Absolutely. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. These are roasted beets. You can either roast them in your oven. Depending on the size of the beet, it can take a little over an hour. You can just wrap them in foil, roast them, and then you peel the skin afterwards. I like to use my Instapot. So you can literally just put them in with a little bit of water underneath, turn on the Instapot, again, depending on the size, 45 to 50 minutes.
Okay.
60 minutes maybe if it's a bigger beet, and then peel the skins off, and super easy.
Voila,
put them in there, and then your dinner is done. So I'm gonna get these capers started. I love capers. They add a really nice brininess, some saltiness, and I like to crisp them just to give the salad a little bit of a texture and crunch. So
interesting.
I've got these cooking in some avocado oil. I like to use avocado oil for frying and cooking just because it has a higher smoke point, and it can be a little healthier for you instead of using olive oil, which I like to use in my dressings, but not heating necessarily.
I have never seen avocado oil. Is it in a regular grocery store? You have to go specialty.
You can get them in most regular grocery stores these days. There's a couple different brands, but yeah.
Wow.
Most stores should have it. Yeah. It's pretty tasty, and you can use it in dressings too. It's a really healthy oil. And then, so we've got our beets here. So I'm going to go ahead and add the grapefruits. So these have been segmented, and this is about 2 grapefruits. And you can either leave them in these kind of bigger wedges if you want to make it, you know, a little more of a presentation, or you can always cut them too, make them a little more edible.
But the presentation is lovely like that, for sure.
And then especially if you're taking it to an event where you're trying to make everyone happy, you want it to look good. And then we've got some pistachios, and this is optional, but I like to do it just because it gives it a little bit of a crunch. And the salad works really well just as its own entree, or I also like to do this as a side salad to my pistachio crusted cod recipe that is in my book too, so the pistachio really ties it all together.
Oh, that sounds great.
2 of my favorite recipes. And then we've got our capers. These are already crispy here, so I'm just going to go ahead and add those. And again, the goat cheese is optional. If you're trying to make the vegans happy, you'll definitely want to skip this.
Sure.
And paleo technically doesn't eat dairy, but some people do incorporate it, especially a goat cheese can be a little bit more easy to digest than an actual dairy cheese. So you can put as much or as little on it as you want. And then we've got our dressing here that's already made. So again, this is the fresh herbs, the olive oil, the citrus. You can drizzle on as much as you want. You can put it on the side, or you can toss it too, however you want to do it. And you've got your salad. And you know, it doesn't take too long to make. You know, You put the beets in the Instapot, comes together very quickly.
Yes.
Just cut up some grapefruit, make
And
the
it's
herbs
colorful and lovely.
It looks pretty, it is healthy, it makes you feel good when you eat it. So
tell me about the event that you're doing, because obviously you want people to know. It took 2 years for you to get diagnosed. If people had just recognized the symptoms, you might have had an easier time.
Absolutely. So the event is put on by the Global Lyme Alliance, and they're doing a lot of really great work to find a cure for Lyme and find better testing and really make a difference to help all the people that are being impacted by the disease. So they're doing a sub-Lyme story tomorrow night. They're working with some of Chicago's best gluten-free and dairy-free chefs, so very in line with all the recipes in my book. And it's going to be a very inclusive event, lots of good food, and supporting a great cause.
Oh, that is great. And I'm glad that you are feeling better. I find it interesting that you transformed your entire career because of a health scare and now have turned it into a way to help other people. I think it's terrific.
And eat really beautiful, healthy food.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can check out Erica's book, Wandering Palate, on her website, thetrailtohealth.com. And if you want more information on the Global Lyme Alliance Sublime Soiree, visit fundraise.globallymealliance.org. We'll have all of that on our webpage, and then we'll have the recipe for this beet and grapefruit salad as well at WGN-TV.com/midday.